How's it going, bro? Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry for the
Yeah,
time mishap. You called me at 7 a.m. I thought I was setting it up for
yeah,
8 a.m. my time. So
yeah.
I
It's
was
all the
confused.
it's all the it's all the time differences, man.
Yeah,
We all get like mixed up. So
yeah.
how's this pandemic been treating you, man?
Man, it's been okay for me. We've practiced at a private high school, so we've had access to facilities. They've been really accommodated for us. So
Mm,
yeah, man, it's slowed a lot of other people down. I know, and it kind of hit us a little hard last year. We had to train
mm.
on some grass like everybody else, but yeah, right now for this season, this year, it's just we've been able to get after it. So, what? How about you?
Me, I was about to ask, was there anything different you're doing in your life? Because I found myself now, especially when this first pandemic started, I've in the past year, I've been able to get through like 3, 4 books. I've been reading a lot more. And I mean, being in the garden, doing a lot of like sweeping the leaves, doing different stuff. Is anything different you've been doing, or you're just training, training, training?
No, man. So, yeah, you find yourself having more free time. I
Yeah.
don't know, wildly, but um, no, I have my hands. So I'm in school, so I do school online, and then I started working on two projects that I'm hopefully going to be finished by the end of May. I'm coming out with an agent rating system where you can rate your agent.
Mm,
And then another one is just talking to collegiate kids and informing them about college or professional track and field before they go professional,
mm,
how to pick an agent, kind of essentially being a mentor to as many of them as I can. So those
mm,
are the two additional things that I've been working on this year that have taken up a lot of my time. It's a lot.
mm. So how did you first get started with the track and field?
Um, I first got started with track when I was in seventh, eighth grade. My gym teacher was like, "Look, man, you're really fast running around. We're playing kickball and stuff." And he's like, "You should just come out for the track team." And I was like, "You know what? I never heard of track, or I seen track once before the Olympics when I was younger,
Mm,
but other than that, I didn't know too much about it." And then next thing you know, I'm trying out for the track team, and then the rest is history.
mm. And so where you was growing up in the States, were a lot of people in your area, were they doing track? Or they trying to be like where you are now?
Yeah, and like because of me,
Yeah, yeah. You get
um, yeah, a few people have because there's another girl from my high school that was, more talented, and she won states as well, and she runs for Jamaica. Her name is Leah Nugent,
mm,
and so she actually made the Olympic team in Rio. So that was really exciting. But I don't think anything is my cause. I think I'm definitely one to help, show that it's possible. But I wouldn't say that like I
mm,
think she would have had a successful career if I hadn't run track before her too. I don't.
mhm. Yeah,
I just think it's just yeah. I don't look at it that way.
yeah. So as a hurdler, as a sprinter, I should say, would you say you're more of a technician or a strength runner,
I would say I'm more of a
or neither?
yeah. It's kind of
It's hard to explain. I know.
yeah. I would say I'm closer to a technician than anything else.
Yeah.
I don't have flat speed. I have aggression, but I wouldn't say I'm like strong strength. And the strength throughout the race, I kind of need to develop it more. So I guess technical wise is the thing that makes me faster. So um, and I look at myself and I see I got a lot of mistakes and a lot to
Mm,
clean up. But yeah, man, I'd say I lean more to the technical side.
yeah. So with the first, because I'm younger than you, I'm only 24 myself.
Hmm.
The first Olympics I remember was Beijing 2008, and I saw what's your name in the hurdles, saw Payne from your country. Then I saw world champs. I see Oliver. Would is there is there is there any sort of pressure on you being an American hurdler to try and get medals the way they did?
Yeah, for sure. And there was a sort of a low period where you seen a lot of like when Omar burst on the scene,
Mm,
you had a lot more Jamaicans taking first and second, and French people coming out. And the older hurdlers at the time was just saying like hurdles are dead in America. Like all the
mm.
American hurdlers are trash. And I'm looking like I'm still here, like oh shit. Um, but there is definitely that pressure. But I mean, America pumps out tremendous athletes all the time, and so when we're not in medal contention, it's like, what's going on? Like what's
Mm,
happening? So it does put a lot of pressure on you, but I mean, the pressure comes in the form of comments and things like that. But other than that, I try not to let that get to me. That pressure get to me,
mm,
but it definitely exists.
mm. And is there any like one or two hurdlers which you was looking up to, which you had, which you thought, yeah, I, I study him, or was you just going out there and just doing your thing? Was there
Yeah.
any?
No, of course. There's not even just like two. It's we study everybody. Everybody
Mm,
has something to give. They do something right, which is why they run fast. So, some of my favorite hurdlers to watch are I like watching Lu Zhang and Dayron Robles, and I think
hmm.
those two are
Yeah.
cemented in track and field history. They do so many things right. They do,
And
you
plus,
know,
they both held world records as well. So
both held world records, the best to ever do it. So and they just make it look easy. I
mm,
mean, it's just yeah. Those are the two that
yeah,
I like to watch from time to time.
so what is going through your head when you knock a hurdle? That's one question I've always like. Is it just panic or is it just
You know what? It's so strange. Some of the times you don't even like. It depends how hard you hit the hurdle. So if you're
mm,
nicking the hurdle and it falls, you probably won't even realize it. Like I've run races where I look back and I'm like, oh, I hit a hurdle. That's crazy. Um, when you smash a hurdle or if you kick a hurdle, it kind of goes into I kind of equate running hurdles, and you probably felt like this, to
mhm,
flying like an airplane. I never
yeah,
flown an airplane, but I've been told. I can imagine. It's like the pilot steps in for the takeoff, and he puts it in autopilot, and then when it's time to land, he takes it off autopilot and he lands the plane. So like it's kind of like that. So when the pilot has to step in, I equate that to my consciousness to step in. Let's just say like something happens in the air where there's a lot of turbulence and you got to take control. Equates that to like me hitting the hurdle, like you correct yourself and you try to put yourself back on to autopilot. And so there's no freaking out. It's literally just like correct. Let's get us back on trajectory, and then shut my consciousness down and let the body continue to do what it knows how to do. So
yeah.
yeah, no panic, and just like it is like a quick like oh shit and then
Yeah.
fix. So
That's a good little analogy there. That pilot.
yeah.
So how did you work out which foot you was gonna go over the hurdles? Is it just your stronger foot, or does it just you run and whichever one goes
It
up, and
was
that's your lead leg? That's how you
that
work
was
out.
my, like that was determined when I was in like 8th grade. um I just remember coach was like, here's the hurdles, let's everybody jump over them, and then they did it, and then we did, and then I was never taught go right leg hurdle. It was just more so like a fun gym activity, and I started jumping with my right leg, and uh the rest is history. Yeah, then that develops into a technique. So I think it was just my more natural dominant leg, and how I determine. So I also coach high school kids. I have them stand up, and we give them a little push forward, and whatever foot they push out to stop them to keep their balance is their lead leg.
Hmm. Yeah. So you just mentioned the coaching high school kids. How is it ever like a challenge? Obviously, coaching, but then obviously thinking about your own career. Was that ever tough?
No, not at all. I think a lot of times we have too much time to think about our own career. At
Mm,
least I
yeah,
do. And
yeah.
so I need healthy and positive distractions. And, teaching these high school kids have helped me to, remove myself, but also include myself because I'm teaching these kids some of the basics. And it may hit or click something in my head, like I see a kid doing something wrong, and I was like, oh, you know, that's kind of what I'm doing wrong, and I can help coach them through it, and it's essentially helping me coach myself through it. Very rare because they're not on the same level, but you know, it's just a fun way to kind of separate from myself and to give back to these kids, and you care about these kids and their success and stuff like that, so and they get happy and you know excited, so it's just been really fun and cool to coach them.
Mm-hmm. And are these kids gonna come watch you run, or do they come? Do they support you in your?
Yeah, a lot of times we try not to tell them. We just say that we run professional track, and unfortunately, only the true track and field fans know. So there's like I had 2 or 3, but for the mass part, they don't. They just run track to see it as like an activity, but and they still have talent though. But late as of late, I've been trying to inspire them to show them like this is what professional track and field can look like. So I not only coach with just myself. I've got another Olympian. I got a world top 10 hurdler. And we've got another, you know, Great Britain hurdler. Like we've just got a tremendous coaching staff there that I think they should be aware of, and it can help inspire and motivate them. So I've been a little bit more vocal, and so they yeah they seem to receive that really well, and hopefully that you know turns into, oh, I saw you. Sometimes one of the kids was like, oh, I saw Coach Dave on Instagram. They follow his track account that they like, so they like, oh yeah, I saw Coach Dave on Instagram, and you know it inspires me. So but yeah, I hope that they'll start to take an interest, and then we'd love to see them watch me.
Yeah, just on the coaching thing, because like this question just popped into my head because I'm a I'm a qualified timekeeper and a field judge here in the UK. So I've got
Oh,
my
nice.
qualification. Yeah, and I do want to go into coaching, and I've done a bit of voluntary work of coaching at schools and stuff. And what I wanted to ask is that how do you think I should deal with athletes? I'm coaching them because obviously I haven't competed at a professional level. They might look at me and be like, "Does this guy know what he's talking about?" Unlike with you, who's achieved stuff in the game. So do you ever think like I should just be myself, or like how do you think you would react if like you wasn't professional but you was coaching sort of thing?
I would say this. I would say it's when I was, you know, a high school coach, I never asked my coach for their credentials. You know, it doesn't matter if you've done X, Y, and Z. And like I said, I don't tell my kids. I coached in South Carolina, and I didn't tell them much. Some of the kids knew and they followed me, but the other kids didn't know. So as long as you know what you're talking about, as long as you show that you're passionate and you believe in them, I think they'll listen to you. So those are the only things that matter. Truly.
Makes sense. So what was it like being US champ in 2016?
Yeah, it was fun. It was my first time, and it was special because not only did I make the Indoor Championships, that was in Portland, but my roommate did as well in the hurdles, Spencer Adams. So I think that was one of my more special moments, and it was just a culmination of things. 2 years ago, I fell, and I didn't make the world indoor teams. Then I could have, but the timing just wasn't right, and so that's one of my more special track and field, you know, wins or just memories is winning USA's finally in the 60 hurdles. Took me 4 years to do it, and not only doing it, but with my best friend, you know, who got second, and then we both got to stay in Portland and then represent USA at Worlds. So it was a truly special moment.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of your answers are kind of leading into my next questions. Funny you mentioned timing wasn't right. Would you say you not started late, but you kind of got into you peaked late? Would you say that, or was it just?
Yeah, for sure. Like all throughout my entire track and field career has always been later. So middle school, that doesn't really count. But high school, I didn't really run fast until my senior year, and I didn't get recruited to college for track and field. I got recruited for football, and I went to a Division II school, played football, and I walked on the track team. And after I walked on the track team, I was doing really well, and I ended up wanting to transfer to a Division I school, which I chose Syracuse. So, you know, it's been late blooming, and then even in Syracuse, I got there, I struggled, but I developed, and at the end of my career, I ended up winning nationals indoors for the university. So, first ever national championship for the school, and I was on my way out the door. So it's just things in my career. They definitely have, it takes me a little bit of time to learn the ropes and then develop through them. And I'm looking for the same as my time in track and field comes to an end. It's just that'd be a nice little trend I could look back and say that'd be cool. So looking at these Olympics, like, is this it? Yeah.
So you said how balancing the coaching and your career was not a problem. So I guess balancing your earlier career with the studying wasn't a problem either.
No, with university and competing, you find a balance and you realize how much time is in a day, and then you're able to prioritize. So I'm not saying that I didn't have a social life, but I had fun, and I had my friends on the track team that we went out, we did stuff with. You made sure you got your homework done, and get your responsibilities done. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yep. So in the indoors, 2016, was you a bit gutted coming forth, or was that just like it was a learning process?
Definitely a learning process, but I think again there was still a lot of pressure put on me to make the team, and I'm looked at as a stronger runner indoors. So, but being my first team, I was young, I was confident, and I was the fastest in the United States that year. Yep. So it was, and it was a new place that I've never been. So, and interesting enough, it was like my third year being professional, going into fourth year. So. Wow. Yeah, it was new, and I had been around the block a little bit, and I was kind of a little bit more ready, but still, championship life is just a tad different than full season stuff. So it's just something I had to learn and get used to.
Yeah, because even though you still would have been pretty pleased with your performance, because in the semis you got 752, season's best, then in the final you got like a 750. So you was you done as good as you could do. So would you say that? Yeah.
Yeah, I would. And that year in total, like, I had changed coaches halfway through the fall season. So it was like, man, I was even blessed to just get to that point. So to have been, a couple hundredths off or just 100th off my PR at the time, I was very satisfied. I was very happy and looking forward to, starting, the rest of my track career with this coach. So, yeah, I was really happy.
And in that final, Omar got like a world lead. How obviously you've raced against him. How good is Omar?
Omar he's a fierce competitor, and that year he had gone through college, and the next year I think he finished in 15, and he ran professionally at 16. So he's a very, very he's a strong competitor. So you know what you're going to get out of Omar, and he's very consistent with it. So if you're not bringing your A game, you're going to slip. And it's fun to race against, and no ill feelings towards anybody. I think all the hurdlers are unique in that aspect where, we don't have big egos, and we're all just trying to get to the finish line first. But afterwards, everybody's all joking around, and you make friends with people. So Omar's a fierce competitor, and you know what you're going to get out of him.
Yep. And when you do switch coach, like how much does your routines change in terms of your training?
Man, it can change quite drastically because of the different philosophies that each coach has.
Mm,
Um, and I've had one, two, three, four. This is my fifth coach now. So
mm,
in my professional career, I've had five coaches, which is a lot. And that time spent developing with that coach gets lost when you only, when you cut it off. So um, it can be difficult if you're not able to
mm,
kind of accelerate the learning curve, as Jason
mm.
Richardson told me, making
Yeah,
sure that you learn that coach and that coach understands and learns you, and there's going to be some rough patches, and make those happen quick and early, and then you continue to move on. So yeah.
yeah. I was watching something the other day. It's about this boxer. He recently split with his coach. He basically said he's got a new training camp in Portugal, but like his coach, his trainer has got young kids, and he kind of just wants to stay in the UK. And you like agreed that when you split with coaches, it could be something like that. It could like, because when you split from, especially with, don't know about track and field, but definitely within boxing, when you just see the headline splits from trainer, everyone just wants to start some trouble, like something happened. But do you agree, like even in your experience, it could be something simple, like what I said, but just he can't go this way and just
Yeah, of course. I mean, you hear or you like, yeah. I thought Jarret was in South Carolina. He's in Phoenix, Arizona now. It could be positive or negative. It depends on the coach's relationship to the sport and also like their notoriety. So when David Oliver left his coach in Florida, it was an ugly mess. It was
mm,
leaked letters. It was
yeah,
speculation. It wasn't pretty. And so other coaches or other athletes who left and joined other coaches, like Corey Carter joined the group in Texas with Flo and them. It was just like, oh man, now they got a strong group. That's going to be crazy. So we always keep here and keep track of people, but it's yeah, it could be either a good thing where people makes the headlines and it's negative, or it's a bad thing where you're like, or I'm sorry, it's a bad thing where it makes the headlines and it's negative, or it's a good thing where people are like, oh man, this group is going to be on fire. Let's watch out for them this year.
hmm, yep. So um before you actually run, is there any routines that you do to say that when you're putting your spike, do you put your left spike on first or anything like that?
The only thing that I started to do that I did when I was in high school is I just wear one black sock, one right sock. So the black sock is right and the left one is white. So other than that, I don't have any special routines. I do like to jump in the shower before I race just to get the body loose and um, just getting ready. It's like a
Mm,
show. You're putting on a costume. So I see track and field as like more of a performing arts
mm,
than a I don't know. We're going out there to perform and entertain, and so we want to look good. We want to make sure that everything looks right, and then we go out and we be charismatic, and we make the fans want to come back to this event. So yeah, it's but yeah, I don't have any major like routines or stuff like that.
I'm surprised. You didn't mention the headband. Is there
Yeah,
is that just an American thing? Cause or is it there any?
yeah, no, the I always wear the headband. I don't have a specific time to put it on. I like to get interesting and creative with it sometimes, where I will um, put it in a different language based on the country that I'm going to. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I had a campaign where I wanted to have certain words that I wanted to just continually perpetuate, and like love, compassion, tenacity, strength, and peace, and stuff like that. So, I've done little weird stuff like that, but also most of the time it's just Jay Eaton on the headband. And I don't know if that is an American thing. I've seen other countries wearing headbands,
Yeah,
so
true, true.
yeah, I don't know. There's not
No,
customized like mine. So
yeah, because I was actually gonna ask if you if you previously played basketball or something.
Yeah, no. My ex-girlfriend in college at the time, or my girlfriend in college at the time, um, gave that to me as a gift because I started wearing headbands just to feel unique. I started doing hair stuff, and I was like, you know what, that's not sustainable. And then I got a headband, and then she put my name, Jay Eaton, on it, and I was like, you know what, that's pretty cool. And so ever since then, I've been running with it. So
Makes sense. Yeah. So is there so in between each hurdle, is there amount of strides which you aim for? Like say, oh, I need to do this amount of strides to, or do you just run?
yeah, you essentially run, and it's three, and the only thing that you could be thinking about, or sometimes that I think about in practice, is making the rhythm of my three steps quicker. So it should be when we're timing the hurdles, from takeoff to the next hurdle, it should be a second or less. It should be like a second or less. So
Mm,
we're really just trying to like I'm trying to have a cadence in my head, and it's like pop, 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 like make these steps quick and rush them and make sure that my feet are turning over and getting through that hurdle. So um, it's that's the only thing that I'll think about in practice. So as far as like footsteps, no, but just quick rhythm.
yeah. And are you how often are you ever watching your races back?
I do. I like to watch especially immediately after, just to dissect it and see what went wrong, what went right, and it gives me more information.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm one of those. I'm an athlete that loves to analyze things. And some athletes are able to just turn off the brain and let the coach tell them what to do, but I'm one of those analytical, numbers, video, and visual learner kind of guy. So I got to see it and see what I'm doing wrong, because sometimes I will be able to change it on the next rep or the next race if I'm able to see what I did that was wrong. I can
Yeah.
associate it to a feeling and then change that feeling in that race, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're watching your own races. Are you watching your opponent's races?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you gotta watch everybody. I think it's nice to know where people are at and what they're doing, but you shouldn't be consumed about their progress and their success.
Yeah.
So, just making sure that you know what's out there.
Mhm.
So, yeah. I'll be watching. A couple other people will start to open up soon. So, I'll definitely be, keeping an eye on that. I think Miramar is the next track meet in 2 weeks. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So there's going to be a lot of heavy hitters there. So Grant, I think Daniel, I think Ronald Levy,
Yeah,
all
Levy.
racing. So yeah, just keep an eye, see kind of how high they set that bar.
Yeah. Yeah. So the reason why I asked if you watch other athletes, because I was thinking, for example, if you're in like a semi-final and you're in the first heat of the semis and you get through, are you fully focused on the final, or are you watching the other semis? Like how does that kind of, or just both? It's just tricky to.
um, I've watched, especially in the if there's the first early rounds, you'll watch to see, okay, he's running well, he's running well. In the semis, no, you literally just you have to go back and get ready for the final. So a lot of
Mm,
times, like even in indoors, I've after I ran the semis, I don't do any interviews. I go and I sit down and I lay down and I get ready for the finals, especially once I know that I made it. So um, no, my coach usually will come up to me and say, "Hey, look, this is where you are. This is what they ran in the other's heat, but you don't need to see what they ran." So it's like, let's take care of business. You're in the middle of, of doing a job. Let's
mm,
not let's not worry about how the other guy's flying his plane. Let's make sure that ours is ready to go for the final.
mm. Are
So,
you ever nervous when you're on the start line,
um,
or not
yeah,
as nervous now?
yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say
So,
I'm nervous now. I think I had to teach myself that the chaos, the loud roars of the fans, the seemingly emptiness, the loneliness. It's kind of weird to say those words, but like when you're surrounded by, you know, 20, 30, 40,000 people, and they're in the stands around you and they're yelling, and then you're in on the infield, like it can be kind of quiet in the sense that like everything around you is crowded, and then beside you there's only 6 or 7 other guys on either side of you, and you got a open lane of hurdles there, and it's like, you know, I got space to run, and it's just like it can feel kind of like peaceful and small, and yet like I don't know, it's a very strange feeling to describe, but like you get, I had to learn how to get used to that and to be happy and to compete in that. And so yeah, at first I'm definitely nervous when, you know, you got eyes on you running, and then it's even more nerve wracking when it's on TV, and then it's more nerve wracking when it's a championship and you got more fans. And so
Yep.
yeah, I don't get too nervous. I get excited now. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's with that excitement, like more exciting when you're competing in the States because all your people are there, or
no,
nah, you never get
I
away from them.
yeah, I get away from it all, and it's sad to say, but the United States doesn't do a good job of promoting their athletes. So I get sometimes more love in another country, but just because they follow track and field better, and so
Yeah.
they'll know who I am. And so you know, you'll have a lot of like USA's and stuff like that when we'll generate the biggest fans, or like a Diamond League when it's here, but like they'll cheer for you because you're an American, not because they know who you are. And I don't
Yeah.
like that pity clap stuff. Like it's not
Yeah.
genuine. I want the real stuff. So if you're going to cheer for me, I hope you know who I am, and you know I'm fine with you wishing me well. But at the same time, um, there's more authentic cheers and you know and celebratory stuff in other countries just because they know who you are.
Yep. Um, what was I gonna say? With um with Levy, he won Commonwealths in 2018. That was outdoors. But there was who was it? It wasn't even him. There's someone else that was doing indoors, running indoors. They had an interview and they basically said how when you run 60-meter hurdles, there's no room for mistakes. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, there's zero room for mistakes. It's 5 hurdles, and you've got to be moving. You know, through the hurdles, you got to be moving and making the right moves. You know, to make sure that you don't end up last. Because yeah, it's a game of who makes the least mistakes, for sure.
Hmm. So I was watching one of your blogs when you was in Germany. You ran in Germany. You
Yeah,
said at the end, oh, your legs were dead. Is
yeah.
that just is that from overtraining? Would you say, or just on the start line you just feel like that?
Yeah, sometimes you just feel like that. And that was my first. I had flown over from Phoenix, Arizona, and you know it's a 9 hour, 9.5 hour flight. Actually, no, it was more like a 12 hour day, but it was like a, you know, you're taking 2 flights, and it's just like that's like a lot on your body. So you have to learn how
Yeah.
to fix it. And then not only that, the time zone change is really trash because you're not. I'm used to it being 8 hours, but then it just becomes uh, 8, 9, 10, like 12 hours, and it's just like, how the hell am I supposed to like, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
sleep and do all this other stuff, or and so it's just wild sometimes where your body doesn't recover, and it'll take a day or a meet or so to kind of get your legs back underneath of you. And I wasn't sleeping right, and all that stuff. So yeah, the travel can definitely take a toll on you. One
yep,
second.
yep. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, and with all this traveling and stuff, track and field athlete going around the world, is there ever a time where you must miss family, or you must go to long training camps and stuff?
Yeah, I do, and they understand. the life that track and field is. But I've always been one of kind of a nomad, so I do miss my family. I love them all, and I miss my friends sometimes. But I wouldn't stop doing what I'm doing, and yeah, I love traveling. So
Yeah.
like it really is one of the most beneficial experiences that I've had in my life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Where's the most favorite place you've been,
Um, man,
or track even, where you love running?
those are three separate answers. So
Yeah, yeah.
the favorite place that I've been has been Bordeaux, France, and I love the culture of France. I love the wine. I love the art. I love the. Try to speak French a little bit. The food, everything is cool. I love that little city. It's just cool. Um, the my favorite track is this little track in Mondeville, France, and it's really fast, and it's the atmosphere is the whole meet, the whole setting, and what was the last one? I broke up in three. I forget, but I had Lucerne, Switzerland in my head. It's like the prettiest,
Mm,
one of the prettiest locations, with the mountains in the background, like that. That
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you got
And then Jamaica. Oh my gosh, you can't even
yeah.
cut out Jamaica. Yeah,
I was
yeah.
getting on to
It's
Jamaica.
so many.
I was getting on to Jamaica because I was because of when you won the Invitational in 2016, was it
Mhm.
in Jamaica? What was that like? Just going there and just as an
Listen,
American, just be.
I can't even put into words. My first time in Jamaica. Usain Bolt was there. You got Asafa Powell. You got all the heavy hitters running there, and it's it was electrifying. No other track meet have I been to has even come close to resembling that of Jamaica. They have the stands are packed. They had cheerleaders. They had the fans had these like horns, and they're just going wild. They had a DJ. It was just like
Yeah,
like all this. It was a fun party at a track meet, and the energy that was like you walked in underneath the stadium to the stadium, and it was like you just feel the energy from the stands, and it just vibrates through you, and I got so hyped off of that, and it was just I love going back to Jamaica. Like that is just they love track and field, and
mm.
and they know how to make everyone feel welcome, and of course they love their Jamaican stars. Of course, there's a little USA rivalry, and
Yep. No,
they know who you are, and they know your stats, and the commentators and the reporters will all report harshly, but it's always a fun place to go back to. Yeah, for
yep.
sure. Yeah.
So after the silver in the indoors, obviously at the next champs, I felt what am I talking about? There's so many championships you just get like
Yeah, yeah,
you get like what year was that?
yeah.
But what is that? What was that? You know what I'm talking about. What's that race where I felt as though you kind of lost the race in the last hurdle? Was that the indoors with
Yeah,
Posey? Yeah,
that was the World Indoor Championships
World
in
indoors. Yeah,
18.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how was that like? Because even Will Sharman, he's got Europeans where he lost to Shabenkov. He's winning the whole race, literally clipped the last hurdle, and then he came second. I think that's a similar sort of thing with you. Would you say you lost it on the last hurdle?
You know what? Watching it, uh, I hit the last hurdle, and it fell to the ground, and I can say that may have impeded me the hundredth of a second that I lost to.
Yeah,
I think I ran seven. I don't even remember my time. I think he ran 7:43. I must have ran 7:44. Whatever. That would have been close to or equal my PR. I think I literally gave it everything I got. I didn't feel like I said I hit a hurdle. When it's small nicks like that, you don't really feel it, but they can
yeah,
affect you. I just remember finishing the race and not knowing who won. I was so concerned about running and making sure that I did well that like I didn't know what place I could have got last, and I wouldn't have known. So yeah, looking back at the race, yeah, hitting the hurdle probably could have, but I was happy that I was able to give literally everything that I had,
Mm,
in that
yeah.
race.
And,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
And being from the UK, obviously, see Andy Posey is our guy. Was you aware of him prior to that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We're friends. Yeah, I've spoken to him before, and yeah, we were acquaintances, and then after 2006 or 18, we you get a little closer and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Another question I was gonna ask: what's it like beating beating a world record holder in what's Merritt?
yeah. Oh, you're talking about in 18 for
Yeah,
USA's.
yeah, USA's. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a special race too because all year I was in France running indoors, and I had been doing my thing, in Europe. And there was Devin Allen and there was Aries Merritt who ran at the USA indoors or USA, not USA, Milrose Games in New York City. And so they had gotten all the attention. And again, USA Track and Field does a terrible job at, announcing hurdler or just giving people props
Mm,
when they should. So the entire year it was Devin Allen is going to make the team, and
mm,
same with Aries Merritt. And they glossed over me completely. Well, I had the fastest time, was the fastest American. I had the
mm,
fastest time by, over, I had like, I ran 7:47. They ran 7:49. I think that was the fastest time. That was Devin's time. And Aries had ran 7:52. But I got a faster time than them coming into the meet.
mm,
Ranked in the world. I've been beating people. I've been, like I don't exist the entire first, second.
mm,
It was it two. It was just 2 rounds, just the first and then the final. So, like, to be able to go out there, get the heat, not have any words on me, and then come out there in the finals and just blow them out the water.
yeah.
It's always beating somebody who is the best, and so yeah, I beat him, and I was truly excited, and I was a little bit more animated than I usually am. So yeah, I was jumping around and just acting a fool. So, but I was like,
Yeah.
like it's disrespectful that athletes have to go through that, and I'm not the only one. But it's like, we work all this time, all this, you know, just to not get our recognition, a simple, acknowledgement, and you
Mm,
don't acknowledge people, they, you know, it doesn't. No one likes not to be acknowledged, or to feel like they
yeah.
don't even exist. So, yeah, to
Yeah.
beat him was special, and then that the fact that he's the world record holder and then he's won
Yeah.
countless world indoors and XYZ,
Yep.
it's special.
Yeah. So beating him, speaking about having a faster time, no, the tension was on him and Alan. Would you say that was an upset? You,
Yeah, I mean, no, it wasn't an upset, but it was to everybody else. I can't say I was, it's not upset for me. No, it went exactly according to plan
yeah,
because I had a faster time than them.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
So what made you? Is there a reason uh, um why you predominantly compete in the indoors? Is there any why you have more success in indoors? I should say.
Yeah, that we're trying to figure it out. So, um, more so right now, I've thought it was kind of strength and speed endurance. I thought it was strength as being like a 400 runner, like my
Mm,
training, my endurance was the wrong thing. I thought it was my overall max speed. And every year that I've failed, I've tried to focus with my coaches on a new problem. And so coming out, we've kind of gone through the gamut of everything. And
yeah.
so we're down to like one or two things left on my list. And it's either, which highly confident it's hurdle endurance, it's hurdle rhythm, and um, and proper techniques running in and off the hurdle. And so those technique part is the easiest thing, and the hurdle tempo, the hurdle endurance part is that other missing piece. You look at other hurdlers like Grant,
Yeah, Grant.
Hollow,
Yeah.
and he's able to run like a 44 in the 400 and jump, out the pit and long jump. And he still has the same essentially problems that I do. At hurdle 7, things start to break down. So it's more so establishing a strong rhythm and making sure that your body is in good positions to continue that good rhythm all the way down. Because a lot of times, if we start to cut corners or things, your trail leg doesn't come around in front of you, it's going to get tired, or it's working harder than the lead leg unnecessarily. Then the trail leg is going to get tired. After doing a powerful movement 7 times, 8 times, it doesn't matter. It's going to fatigue. It's going to max out. So making sure that we distribute some of this tempo, the speed, and get stronger in some of those areas as well. So yeah, right now it's rhythm, and I've started to see a lot of success on that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when you saw, obviously speaking of Grant, when he broke the indoor world record, is that what's the word, encouragement for you to just want to improve all the time?
I think it's encouraging because he's normalized running that fast consistently. I think that's encouraging. In any sport, you'll see when there's a pioneer who pushes the limits of the sport further, everyone just seems to fall into that faster. So you're going to see a lot of guys get pulled by his, like, I think running 7.3, you're going to have 4 or 5 guys running 7.3 next year. Like for whatever, or the next couple of years, it's just going to become the norm. And it just sometimes takes one person doing that to open the floodgates. And so it is encouraging, and it is healthy for our sport. Yeah, it's that good competition that pushes you and increases your performances. So yeah.
So in terms of the outdoor competition, would you say for this summer, the Grant and Omar, they will be the guys who are going to be in it for the medals?
No, I think there's going to be a handful of people
And
that's going to.
Orlando as well.
Yeah,
Forgot
I
about
haven't seen Orlando indoors, and I know that he's always a
yeah,
contender. Uh, it's going to be crazy, and Andrew Pazzi, and you're going to have the French guy
Braithwaite, yeah. Oh,
Brathwaite. Oh yeah, Brathwaite too.
Balofian,
Say again.
Balofian.
Yeah,
Oh no,
Belosian.
Balofian,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and he's one of those guys that I would put a bet on, because
Mm,
he's not normally the guy to get the best start. He's the guy to get the best finish. And if he's going to have a fast indoor season where he's PRing, and running 7.4s indoors, then
yeah,
I'm very curious as to see what he's going to do outdoors, because I think he's going to be another one of those names where some people are like, where did he come from? And
yeah.
I have seen his development, and he's been a very good youth hurdler. So, yeah, he's definitely one on my radar. But then you have a slew of other Jamaican hurdlers. You've got Hansel Parchment, you've got Ronald Levy, you
Levy, yeah,
got Carter there, and it's just like, who's going to be fit, who's going to be running,
yeah.
and I'm missing out, other good people. Baji from Hungary, who's got
Oh, Baji, yeah, Baji,
third
yeah.
at World Championship. So it's just like, you know, championships year, Olympic years, they pulled the best, and just like in America, you're going to have. Last year we had a guy go 13-1, and Aaron Mallett from the United States. Right now we got college kids who just opened up their season with 13-2. So
Mm-hmm.
shoot, medal contention, it's going to be very difficult to call early
Mm-hmm.
on, but yeah, you're going to have those favorites. But my bet is on Belosia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you think these guys thrive off it? Thrive off having loads of competition? We've always got to try and improve all the time. Is that healthy competition, or is it just more like, oh,
If you're used to doing it, then yeah.
yeah,
No, I don't think it'll be a problem. For Belosian, I think no, I think they have a lot of time to get ready, and like their championships aren't tough. So he's just got to be top three to get to the Olympics or whatever. But it's not like the United States where you got to fight through every round and you got to run 13:0, 12 seconds to make the team. He probably will run that fast, but there's no fourth hurdler who's going to come up and truly challenge their spot. So they can just do it kind of for ego stuff.
yep. And I was looking at the run with at the world champs in Doha with Levy. He got, I think he got disqualified in Doha, and 2 years before at London. He didn't finish in the semi-finals. Is he? Because I rate him. Is he just unlucky? Like, imagine that, two championships and that. It's just
Yeah,
crazy, man.
yeah, very crazy. And even in indoors, like he didn't make the finals of the World Indoors in 2018. He ran 7:49 his first race. So I don't know. Yeah, that's very unlucky, and that's shit happens.
Yeah. So if you wasn't a hurdler, um, what do you think you'd be doing outside of athletics?
uh Man, I'd have my hand in some sort of business type deal. So I'm getting my degree in business administration with a concentration in marketing. So man, I'd probably be working for some advertising company or trying to make a company of my own. And um, yeah, uh, one of those two things.
Yeah. And if it wasn't the hurdles, is there any other event, like any field event you thought about doing? Long jump, pole vault. Now don't do pole vault, man. It's just dangerous, man.
You know what? I was going to say Povo. They are
They're
uh,
incredible athletes, man. But it's just
yeah,
it's just
especially right
scary.
now. Their event is definitely on top, and
Yeah,
they're it
Mondo.
is scary. Yeah, but it's really really interesting. So yeah, I would love to try pole vault, man. That looks fun.
Yeah. And hurdles. What I wanted to ask, as a hurdler, would you say it's an exciting event? Because I would.
Yeah, I
even
would.
even even not to wish injury on anyone, but obviously people kind of look for it. If someone hits the hurdle, oh, the excitement
Yeah,
sort of.
that excitement type deal. Like, oh yeah, there's a crash. Of course, yeah,
Yeah,
and you're moving at high speeds with things in your way. So one wrong mistake and it's game over.
yeah. And with talking to 400-meter runners, they've said the race is tactics. You got to think. You got tactics, and your tactics might switch up. When you say hurdles, it's a tactical sort of race.
No, not at all.
No,
It's
how?
full gas. Yeah, no. You're out there. The only thing is that certain hurdlers know they're athletes, and so you know they may not panic when they're behind because they know that their strength is in the end of the race. So, but to be tactical about it, no, it's just playing off your strengths.
And you believe in overstriding? Is that a thing to overstride?
Yeah, I think it puts your hips in bad positions. So yeah, anytime that we're not creating power or something out of our strides and we reach right too far or something like that, I guess that to me is overstride. And your hips break or something like that, your hips sink, the hip height, and you know, yeah.
And has there ever been a time where you've won a race, but it might not have been a good time? You're disappointed. So has there ever been a time you've won, but you're just not happy with yourself?
Not so much. I think there's always things to learn in races, and so I may not be happy, but again, like the end of the day, um, maybe early in my career, but I think I had to learn that like this is a show, this is a game, and we're out here to perform. So no one wants to see a sore winner. So even though I may not be happy with the time, you still got to put your, wear your face and walk and do your thing, But never have I been like disappointed from a win just because I didn't get a certain time or, you know, like truly upset. I could be like, you know what? I thought that was a faster race, but I'm happy I got the win type deal. So it's always like finding the silver lining within
Hmm.
things.
Yeah. And um what about your injury record? Have you how's it been throughout your career? You ever got any
Yeah.
big injuries?
Recently I just came off of a grade 2 hamstring tear. That happened at the end of the indoor season. I've pulled my hamstring in college, but for the most part, I've been relatively healthy throughout my entire career. I've had small little nicks with my, hip flexors and things like that, but um, nothing to keep me out an entire season or prevent me from running. Um, in 2019, I did was dealing with some things, but it's mostly lack of treatment that I don't get that just kinks my body up. But it's nothing
Mm,
like a major issue.
mm. And do you think so say for example, if the injury occurred like a, a few months before a world indoors, would you kind of be panicking? Am I gonna make it in time? What do you think the thought process would be?
Yeah, of course, it's just making sure that I try to get as healthy as I can. And yeah, at World Championships is the time that you need to perform, and you're piecing together. You and your medical staff are trying to figure out the best way to perform. So, you know, give you some good medicine, make you feel as the best you can before you go and compete.
Yeah. And and in the off season, how does your diet change? Are you just out by the fast food restaurants and stuff?
Yeah, you know what? Those restrictions definitely come off, but it's crazy once you've put yourself in a certain habit. Those foods stop tasting good. So like a couple years ago, I tried to eat like Burger King, and now it just tastes like ash to me. Like I just can't even do it. So um, yeah, it's definitely we eat a little bit differently and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'll still continue to eat relatively the same, no matter in season or out. So it's
Mhm.
just a habit now.
Yeah. And when you're it's like I used to do when you're training and you finish your own and you finish your session. Is there has there ever been a time where your coach might leave and you might just stay behind, just work on your own sort of thing, or do you just when you finish, you finish?
When I'm finished, I'm finished. I haven't stayed to work on more only because um, I've had great communication with my coaches, and this is the plan. This is the time we have to do it in. If we didn't do it today, oh well, we have tomorrow. So it's like let's recover. Let's make sure that the next day is better, and yeah, let's stay focused and not dwell too much on a practice or session. So yeah,
Yeah,
done is
yeah.
done. Leave it there. We move on.
I was thinking, has there ever been a time where, for example, you've been working on something in your session and then you've had the race that hasn't quite came off? Like,
Yeah.
how do you bounce back from that? Is just
Just
try again, or
yeah, let's try again. It's all right. I didn't get to do what I had wanted to do or what I had worked on, so let's try it again. And a lot of times that doesn't discourage me. That just says I understand the process of it. So it's just like it's not. It can be frustrating, but I'm not. I'm just like all right. We just need more work. Let's get back to work. Let's make sure that this is an automatic thing, so that I don't have to consciously think about working my lead arm or something like that. So.
mm.
Yeah.
And do you think with this pandemic, obviously with the Olympics being put back a year, will this? Do you think? Obviously, I guess it depends on who you are, but do you think it would help some people that the Olympics didn't happen last summer? Obviously, people they get more time to train. and stuff. But then you could look at it as some people will be a bit gutted because they were ready last summer. How would you see it?
Yeah, exactly that. And I was one of those people who benefited. So I had changed coaches, and I had about 6 months to train with him before the, or less than 6 months before the USA trial. So it was, yeah, it benefited me tremendously. So I'm glad that, I'm thankful for the time that I've got. So yeah, this year I'm definitely I'm in a better position than I was last year. So.
Yeah. And what would you say? What's one piece of advice which you'd give like an up and coming hurdler?
The one thing that I would say is it's going to be difficult. Um,
Yep, 100%.
yeah, I'm trying to think. It's definitely going to be difficult. I, I want to give two pieces of advice. One is to try to just stay true to who you are within the professional world of track and field. Treat it like a show, and don't let it burn who you are inside. Um, Understand and learn how this game is played so you can benefit from it. And the second is make sure that you're focusing on fast hurdle rhythm and and uh, and and doing all and learning from your peers and competition, because you can never ask as you can never ask too many questions, and continue to learn from those who've had more success than you.
Yeah, and like you said, you when you're coaching, you kind of see stuff from the younger athletes and stuff which you've seen as yourself when you was their age, sort of thing. Does that ever happen? I think that goes for every kind of sports coach.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
agree? Yeah.
It's that full circle, and you're able to identify it and improve upon it. So, yeah,
And are you one of those guys when you're training yourself? Are you ever early, late, on time? What was your sort of?
uh, I try to be on time. Sometimes I'm late; it's just life happens. But um, yeah, most of the time it's on time or just a little late.
Yeah, and I kind of uh, this is sort of with the routine sort of thing. But like, if you ever got music in, like an hour before the race, you're trying to stay cool. I kind of should have
Yeah,
asked you. Yeah,
yeah. Got music. I got the whole nine, and it just makes me feel calm and just ready to go. And music does so much more. It stimulates you, it motivates you, it gets you really pumped and going. So
mm.
yeah,
Have you have you ever been in a race where where there's a full start, and how do you get back into the focus mode when there's a full start? Because you could have been, I know there must have been a time where you're right, you felt good, then there's a full start, you're like, ah,
yeah, yeah. You just got to reset, and I think that happens in practice. Like I've been in practice where my teammate will jump or whatever, and then I was really ready to go then. And yeah, most of the time it's just having these situations done in practice. So I think your coach should definitely practice false starts, you
mm,
know, and just to get you in that mindset to like let it go. Now let me wind this spring back up. Let me get this mentally, back where I need to be. So
yeah.
yeah,
Also, why do you think people full start? Is it just nervousness, just trying to get a good start, or
yeah, it could be nervousness, and it just could be like just everything. Yeah, just trying to get the best start and trying to get ahead of everybody early. Some people rely early on the race, so they just like let me capitalize on my strength. But I gotta go in like 1 minute, so I gotta get ready to go to
uh,
practice.
cool,
Yeah,
cool.
no
One
problem.
one what was I gonna say? I was gonna ask what's next, and we probably know summer.
Yeah. What's next is like for meets and stuff,
Yeah,
or like career.
just for you and your career.
Yeah. So what's next is yeah, we got outdoor meets. We have Tokyo trials at USA's. Very confident I will make that, and then we'll go
Yeah.
to Japan and have a good showing in Japan, get a medal, and I'm like I said, I'm on my way out the door. So I don't really see myself running more than 2 years, So
Yeah.
I'd love to do the USA in our World Outdoor Championships in Oregon the following year, and then after that, see how long I can milk my accomplishments before they stop paying me. So, um,
Yeah.
and I want to start giving back to the sport
That's it,
in
man.
more unique ways. So,
Appreciate
yeah,
that, man. Yeah, that's a great way to close, man. Hey, Jarret, thanks for talking to me, bro. And we'll keep in contact, man. Definitely.
definitely, man. Yeah, no problem. It was a fun interview.
Yeah, man. Trying hard, man. Talk to
Yeah,
you
thank
soon,
you.
bro.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
No